me invite Toastmaster Venkatesh sir to read out the objectives of the first speaker.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Toastmaster Krishna is going to deliver pathway in innovative planning. The title of the speech is A Legacy of Ledger and Intelligence of IT. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. Timer, please note the time is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best, my daughter. Thank you.
Right, today the first speaker would be Toastmaster Krishna. I have seen him speaking here only a couple of times, but even with the talks, he has really impressed with his language, flow and thought process. And today he is going to deliver his innovative planning project number 2 for the second time. The title of his speech is Legacy of Ledger and Intelligence of IT. He is currently working with Fidelity Investments. Please put your hands to welcome Toastmaster Krishna.
Have you ever thought, like, between your lunch and your snack break, you might become a Jeff Bezos, one more Jeff Bezos. My dear audience, good afternoon. Please be connected with me for the next 7 minutes. I'm going to share you one of the wonderful technologies which is going to revolutionize the world in a different way. So when you look at the title, A Legacy of a Ledger and Intelligence of IT, what comes to your mind? What would that technology be?
Artificial intelligence is a blockchain.
Absolutely, sir. The check is for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that's a technology which is going to revolutionize in the next 10, 15 years or so. Why? Why I took Jeff Bezos? Because in 1995, when the internet started, he's the one who has revolutionized and used it to the highest potential. So this one technology is going to get change in many places of our society. So the research credits for my research are by a Coin Telegraph. That is where I did my research to get you this wonderful topic today. And coming to the next, like this, the agenda is going to look like this: analogy, a legacy of a ledger, what is it, and how did we used to use that, and the intelligence of IT. So how IT is going to do some magic to use this particular technology, and the resources involved in this particular technology, and a view of complete transaction of the blockchain. So how it is going to help all of us in the future generations, and with one example which we all can feel and touch that. Shall we move on?
Yes.
So, how many of you have used Microsoft Excel? Awesome. So even Jeff Bezos started his Amazon website with Microsoft Excel. He used to take all the orders, place it there, and slowly he used to convert the orders and deliver the books. So that is how it started. Let's say if Venkatesh sir and Ashwin has to use the same Excel sheet, that is not technically possible. So Venkatesh has to complete work and send it to Ashwin, then he can modify the details, and so on and so forth. That is how Microsoft Excel can work. In the process, we have heard like Google came up with Google Sheets, wherein both Venkatesh and Ashwin can work on the same sheet at the same time without any disruption. So that is one of the elevation of technology to the next level. Even though this is not directly linked to your blockchain, whatever we are going to speak, but this is going to connect you the dots to understand this massive technology in a lighter way. So that is analogy which helps us to connect the dots in the next 5 or 6 minutes. Coming to the legacy of a ledger. In the legacy of a ledger, we used to keep the documentation of all the things whatever we had. Let's say Mani gave 5 coins to Jack, Jack gave 3 coins to Anne, so on and so forth. Now Krishna come back and say like, I want to modify this ledger. I just go ahead and do some changes to this. And that is how we did in this example. He changed Jack to Mary and converted the money to himself in the night. This was not technically viable situation because someone can forge your ledger coming back. So that is when it came up, the technology came up with a hashing algorithm. You say this guy has this one. We're going to convert this particular whole words or sentences into an algorithm which is numerically alphanumerical algorithm that is called hashing. Once the sentence is converted to a hash table, so it is little complex for a user, for Krishna, to come and do something wrong to that. But still, this guy with some little experience in IT worked out on how to do that. So he came back, he converted the hashing, and then he modified the hash table and created a new hash. Still, the technology is going to, it's not that useful as we thought, because someone can modify your data at some point in time. But all of it, that is when the intelligence of IT has came in. So now, the technology, as the technology was evolving here and there, people started doing hacking and all these things. So that is when we thought, like, no, this is not going to sustain over a long period of time. So that is when each and every hash which is converted has a link to its previous hash. The data of the previous hash is connected to this. A chain is formed. So if a next hash has to be created, it has to know the hash of the previous one, and then a next chain will be created. That is why we call this technology as a blockchain. So how this is going to help us? So if you see this, first the input of this particular character, and gave 10 coins to Mary, has been converted to a hash. Once a hash is converted, the symbolic representation of that particular hash is there in the second ledger, and that is converted to the third one, wherein the third block has the minute details of this particular second block. So that is how you'll not be, if at all you have to crack one of these blocks, you have to know the complete reverse encryption of this whole blockchain, whatever you have. So that is why that became little difficult. Still, with little more computing resources and all, you will be able to do unblock this. So that is when little more technology and intelligence is added, wherein they came up with a concept called announcing. Each one of this hash is being converted into a each one of the sentences is converted to a hash table. Then they started adding 2 zeros to the end, so that you will not be able to decrypt the whole message at all without knowing the complete block, rather than your just subsequent block. So if you have to decrypt this, you have to know the complete chain of data, then only you will be able to decrypt one block. Because of this, for the last 10 years, blockchain has came into existence in 2008. There is not even a single instance of blockchain being corrupted by a single individual or any other things like hacking. So now coming to what are the resources? Let's say I have my presentation in this laptop today, but what if I lose this laptop? Complete data is gone. Absolutely, I have to depend on Sundaraman sir's laptop. That is the only option if my presentation was there. But how this blockchain works? The moment you create a block, it is going to be that it has a resources called nodes. Let's say we are in this meeting room. The resources are in 3 different ways: distributed, centralized, and decentralized. That's fine. So nodes are nothing but all of the people here. Let's think like we are all systems. Each one of these systems will get the complete information of what I have in this particular laptop. Means every one of these members in this room will get a blockchain completely copy. So even if this laptop is completely gone, you still have the data with some of the nodes in the network. That is why this particular technology is going to revolutionize in the future. But there are limitations, absolutely, because to get so many resources with so much of data in the world, people have to invest, because it is not going to be central to one organization like Fidelity or HSBC or any other things. So it has to come with the universe wherein every member is contributing towards computing resources, then only we will be able to use it. So as we have seen that, the Excel sheet has been distributed to all the nodes, what we have created earlier. So now comes to the complete transaction. The user initiates a transaction. All the nodes in particular, all of us will understand this, yes, this particular transaction is a valid transaction. The moment we authorize this transaction, that goes in, all of these nodes participate and say, once they authorize, it gets completed. The newer block will be added, as we are seeing towards the end. So the new block is added to the list. So that is without doing this complete transaction, we will not be able to do anything to the blockchain. So how do we use this? Blockchain in election. So this is one of the things, if at all, we are all there, we are not participating in the election, which is wrong as a citizens. So that is how, probably you might have used metro stations sometimes, wherein the coin is given, you put the coin, go back and take the coin. So that is how. We'll consider that as a token of a blockchain given to each individual, which is unencryptable. You cannot do anything to that coin. With that, we will be able to use 100% elections. Right now, the turnout percentage is just 50 or 60. 100% elections. That brings us, as we are in the election, this thing, election speed. So how shall we use that in the coming days to use blockchain for our elections in Toastmasters? That sets the technology to all of you. Over to you.